everyone, I'm Jenna and this is Apple Dolly Creations. Let me know you're here. If you see that red live button, you know you got me live, otherwise it's replay. And if you could put hashtag replay in the comment section so I can thank you for stopping by. And I do appreciate all of you that stop by after the video is over and all of you that attend the live. We are not making a craft or we are not sewing tonight. We are doing something that you can add to your crafts and your sewing. So we're going to hold off for a second till I see some eyes. Hi Kathy, welcome. So we are doing something a little unconventional tonight. And we're using drinking straws. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hi Regina. If I look like I've been run over by a truck, I was run over by a train, a truck, and a tank this week. That's the way I feel. So we are taking drinking straws. Thank you, Regina. And we're making doll hair with drinking straws. And then we are going to do hair two different ways. And I'm going to show you a new tool that's not made for doll hair, but I use it to make doll hair. I'm using everything that you never use for doll hair tonight. And I have a whole bunch of ripped muslin. So let me turn you around. Okay, get you on this apparatus. Okay, so what we need to start with, well, you need drinking straws. Now, when I do this, I do 100 straws at a time because that's how many straws I have. And then I store them in a shoebox. But what we're starting out with is Mod Podge. And we're going to dump some. We're just going to do a few so you can get the idea. I do have some that's already done, or one that's already done. And then instead of adding water to this, because, you know, we like primitive, we like grunge, I'm using coffee. Just plain coffee, no spices. And I do about 50-50. So the coffee darkens it, so you don't have to darken it after. But normally I start out with these already coffee stains. So I'm just going to mix this up. We're just doing a little bit so I can give you a demonstration. Now you can, I'm using muslin and I'm using jute. But you can use flat lace. You can use ribbon, embroidery floss. I need a glove. You can use anything actually. Hi Deborah. Welcome. Oh, that's my week. So I have a whole bunch of strips of muslin. That's what we're starting off with. So, whoops, this is like an inch wide. You want narrower, an 1/8, no more than 1/4. So let's rip this. So these don't have to be, see, this is like an 1/8 inch and it's down to almost microscopic. See how little? But I'm taking the strings off. Now save your strings, save your little tiny bits of fabric. Next week, we're putting that right in there. Next week, we're making fabric out of string and bits of fabric. We're making fabric. So all your tiny little crumb pieces of fabric, grab them. Because we're making something for Thanksgiving out of it. Now those of you who have been following me for quite a while, you already know what I'm doing, but we're doing it another way today. So let me pull all these strings off and throw that in there. So let's just do the two. So we're going to mush this around And we're going to make sure that this is totally saturated. See? By adding coffee and not water, it's already staining it. Now you can stain this more by adding more coffee in there. So get it really saturated and then squeeze it dry, or as much as you can get out of it. Because this does not, your fabric, your lace, your whatever you're using, jute, we're going to do jute too, so you can see. Only has to be wet. It doesn't have to be saturated. So we're going to take a straw. Now because this has Mod Podge on it, it's going to stick to your straw. So you just get it started and then just start twisting this. Now you don't want one twist to overlap on the other. And we're just going to go down until we have our straw full. Now when I'm sewing and I have little bits of lace and strips of fabric that I know that I can use for doll hair, I throw it in a container until I got a bunch. There's one strand. So we're going to set it aside and we're going to let that dry. It dries really quick, so let's do a piece of jute. So we're using jute and muslin tonight. And let's throw that in there and let's get that all wet. So if you get it damp and then you rub it around in your hands, it gets into all those fibers. So we're getting another straw. Now when this dries, I have one done. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And you can use this, not just doll hair. You can add it to bows, floral arrangements, wreaths. I'm going to show you some that I did on my other page that I did for Christmas tree pokes. So just, and it doesn't have to be, like these are really close and these are further, it don't matter. It don't matter. So we're going to set this aside and let this dry. Shove it under the lid there. So now this is one, this is really grunged lace, a flat lace that I did. So this is totally dry. So all you do to get it off your straws is whatever direction you have this twisted on, twist your straw the opposite way and just pull it out. And you have a twist. And then if it's like some of it, if it's really close together, it'll stick, just untwist it. And if you don't want as tight as this one's really tight, just untwist it and you loosen it up. So I'm going to put this on a doll's hair because I have a whole bunch of them. I make a whole bunch. So see, some of them are looser. This one is tighter. Now this I did on a piece of PVC pipe to make pokes for a Christmas tree. So all I did was add a skewer and they looked really, and I sprinkled glitter over them, but they looked really nice sticking out of a Christmas tree. Here's one with ribbon. Let's see what else is in here. Oh, here's another ribbon. So you can take these if you want to use them for doll hair, and you can do your doll hair 2 different colors if you want it, depending on the type of doll you're using. But see, I have all kinds. Itty bitty pieces. This is red lace. So I just store them all in a shoebox. So let's get these wrapped because they're already wet. Hi, Teresa. Yeah, but they look really nice in bows and wreaths, and you could just add a small little section and have it sticking out of your bow. Looks, I put them in floral arrangements and on wreaths, not just doll hair, but doll hair is what I mostly use these for. So I've had some questions since we've had doll class about doll hair. So we're just going to set these straws aside, and we're just going to lay these here. In about an hour, those all should be dry. But when I do them, I do so many of them, and I just leave them until I need them, or they're in my way. So, see, this one's like really, really thin strip. Hi. Hi, Kay. Hi, Heather. I sent you a message, darling, about Sunday. So we're making, so you can do these like in holiday themes, like, you know, black, orange for Halloween, you know, your tans and oranges for Thanksgiving, whatever colors you're using for Christmas. But like I said, I use these for doll hair, mainly. Hi, Diana. Okay, my solution, Mod Podge, 50% Mod Podge and water, but instead of water, I just use plain coffee. See, I coffee in this. Just plain coffee. That way it gives it, can you see the different colors? It darkens it. But you can do ribbons. We have a piece of jute we did. You just don't want a twist to overlap the other. They can be close like these are, but don't overlap them. And I mean, it's not a crime if it does overlap. You can pull it apart. So we got to cut our strings. So you can use white glue instead of Mod Podge. So because these are wet, they will stick right to that straw. And if your fabric is twisted, it's okay too. So I'm moving this down my straw because this one's really wet. So we're also going to sew doll hair. And those of you that are just hopping on, I'm going to show you a new tool, really inexpensive tool. It's not made for doll hair, but that's the way I use it. Okay, let's get this mess set aside. We need these. Okay, so the tool that we're going to be using, this is our model tonight. She didn't want a model because she's not finished being operated on. She has no arms, legs, or face, but she agreed that we can use her head. So this is it. It's called a hairpin lace loom. This is what it looks like. Now you can get it on Amazon. I got these from CR Crafts, but she no longer has them. So these plastic things, now my other one broke, but it was metal and I had it for a million years. But these come off. And they have different holes. So you can adjust the width. They both come off. Now this one is brand new. I've not used it, so it's really stiff. But I bought 2 of these. Now you can hand sew this instead of machine sewing it. But all you do is you decide how wide you want your hair to be. And you put these right back on. And these come off and will go right underneath of your needle on your machine. And all you gotta do is make sure that it's this, you know, level, not twisted. And then you wrap. This is jute. We're gonna do one with muslin. I'm gonna fill one up. and then we're going to sew it. So how I do this is, this one is a lot narrower than this one is. You can make them, how wide is that? 4 inches if you want your hair that long. And then you can make it as narrow as 2 inches. So all you do, where'd my end go? There it is the first time, the very first wrap, I pull through like this, and then I take it back up like that. So that holds it, and I have a little tail here. So I just, whoops. Okay, if I could hold it. So this is what I do to the very first one. So I have it pulled through from the back to the front. It's looped over. And I come up the back, and then I twist it over this piece. And what that does is when I wrap this around again, that holds it so it doesn't unwrap. Now, when we get this all sewn, then all you got to do is clip that tail off. So all you do is just wrap this around. Now, here again, if your fabric twists, it's not a big deal. Because you can, when we cut this, you can leave the hair already twisted, you know, uncut, or we can cut it, and you'll see when we get this twisted. Then we'll throw this under the needle. It's just a regular needle, regular 1/4 inch foot. There's nothing different that you have to do to your machine. And you can also do this by hand, and I'm going to show you that too. So this is like a great way if you do primitive dolls. Now when you're wrapping this, you don't want to pull this so tight that your bars squeeze in the middle. See, like that one. See how it curves? I squeezed it too much in the middle. But that doesn't matter either, because then your doll just has layered hair. So we're just going to wrap this all the way around. Now see, those ones are twisted. It's fine. And we're just going to fill this whole loom up. And this is called a hairpin lace loom. It's made for making laces, handmade laces, but you know, it's great for this. I saw a lady making lace one day, and I thought, oh, that would be great for doll hair, and I bought one. So when I get to an end, I tuck it under the piece in front of it. And that just holds it. That's all that does, is hold it. So let's fill this one up. So I'm starting a new one, and I'm just going to tuck it under and pull a little bit of a tail out. And then just continue wrapping this. So your pieces can be anything under an inch. An inch doesn't look right. Like this is a 1/2 inch. I normally don't go this wide. I normally go 1/8 to 1/4, but it's what I got, so I'm using it. Okay, so I got another tail. So all I'm doing is pulling up one strip and tucking that. So let's move this, and let's put it under the needle. So just pull your presser foot. Let me get you adjusted so you can see. Pull your presser foot up to slide this under, and start it, and then put it down. You want to get as close to the middle. You don't have to measure it. I don't. I just guesstimate. And then it's just sewing. Put your needle down, back space or back stitch, straight stitch. That's where we tuck those ends under. There's our tails. And all I'm doing is making sure that the presser foot doesn't get underneath of one of those loops. So if you have gaps, you can push it down. That's what I'm doing here. And then back stitch again. So here we go. So then you pull off your ends and pull off your hair. And it's all sewn together. Now you can go run your scissors down these loops and cut them if you want. Or you can leave the loops. So this makes doing doll hair so much easier. But then you just rub it out and you got primitive doll hair. You can glue it or you can hand stitch it on. So that's that one. If you want to hand sew, I'm using a really heavy duty thread. It's denim thread, button thread, carpet thread. Yes. And the tool is I think I paid $8 for one of these. It's called Hairpin Lace. Now, different companies make them. This CR Crafts just sold hers. But so if you want to do by hand, you don't want to sew, you don't have a machine, but you want to do doll hair. So what I do is I have my thread doubled and knotted. So I take some of this, like 3-4 strands of this, and pull my thread through, and then take my needle back through the loop. And that kind of locks it in place. So then I take my needle back through what I've already gathered and pick up some more. Just several at a time, but make sure that your needle's coming through the back side. So pick up, 3-4 more. Hi, Marcia. Thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that. Whoops, I'm around my loom there. That was my problem. And then bring your thread back again. So you're overlapping your stitches. So when you do that, when you get to the end, this is all hooked together. See, I came out here, I'm going back behind this stitch and picking up some more. And it doesn't matter if you pick up 4 or 5, if you pick up 1 or 2, but make sure when you're pushing your needle through, you're coming out the back. Because you have, it's doubled there. So we're using a hairpin lace loom, Marcia, to make doll hair. And we did doll hair with Mod Podge coffee and straws. So I'm pulling my thread tight. So you can do it this way. If you don't want to use a machine, you don't have a machine, and you want to do doll hair, there you go. So I'm going to knot this off and I'm going to put it under the needle. But if you have several of these, and I have 2, I had 3, but 1 broke, you can just run one right after the other, right underneath of your needle. And then we'll double knot this. I'm just going to lift up the presser foot, sort of get it in the middle. Now this is really close to the end. I'm going to push this down some because you need room for the needle to start. So my presser foot is sitting up on this plastic piece, and I want the presser foot to be flat. There we go. But I want to catch all of these pieces. And it came unthreaded. Daggone it. I just pulled that right back out of that needle. I'm hindering myself here. It's just been that kind of a week. It's just been a really, really bad week. I feel like a train and a truck and a tank ran over me. Okay, so I'm going to backstitch to make sure that I have all of these. So as it's going, I'm pushing down in the center so this presser foot doesn't get caught under one of these loops. But jute makes really nice primitive doll hair. So I'm making sure all of these ends get in there too. So I'm going to backstitch. Okay. So there we go. So we're just going to pull one of these off. Now this one hasn't been used as much. Let me get this side. So they're really stiff when you first get them. I have even drilled out these holes a little bit on this one. Just a tad, just because they are so stiff. You just have to work them off. There we go. So once you get one, the other one will come off. Slide it off. So we can cut it. Now I'm sure some of you ladies that are coming up with all kinds of ideas that you can use this for besides doll hair. Because if you do this with ribbon, you can use it as a trim on bottom of a doll dress. If you do the real small one on a lampshade, because you can buy trim that looks like this, that is sewn like this. But look, that will make really nice doll hair. So we're going to finish cutting this one. Now, if you don't need a piece this long, just cut it where you need it. So because you make a piece this long doesn't mean you have to use this long of a piece. So we're going to cut this, and then we're going to put it on our little model over here, her head. So you cannot glue this when you're making it. You can glue it after it's made, but not making it. But you can hand stitch it. So if you make this the whole width, I mean, you could use this as a trim on a tree. Why couldn't you? Depending on what you make it out of. But you can buy a sewing trim that looks just like this. And they use it a lot on furniture and draperies, and I've used it on doll dresses. It's turning over on me, so I have to keep turning it back because it will twist up on itself. So see, twist it up on itself. So I'm trying to get as many loops on my needle as I can. But if we don't get them all, we can always cut them again when we get get it on the doll. But I find it easier to cut before I put it on my dolls. Okay, let's get our little model over here. She's just a little itty bitty thing. You most definitely can. I have made doll hair out of raffia. You definitely can do this with raffia. So when I do it, because there's a seam down the center, I either hand stitch it or I glue it. So fold it in half is what I do. And I just pinch it, just kind of like press it in. Now you can iron this in half if you want, but by pressing it, you do put a seam there. And we can put this right along her hair and cut it. Now when you cut it, you will have a few pieces that will pop out, but just glue it back in. Now, I don't know why I have her painted. I don't know what I made her for, but she was one of the things that I pulled out when I was pulling out all kinds of unfinished stuff. So we're going to make sure the ends are in that glue, and then we're going to take this up over. Now you can do a whole doll head of hair, or you can just do up over the top. So I'm going to show you our second row. But look how cute that looks. And then once the glue totally sets, you can fluff it. So the next row, it don't matter, they're both the same. I'm going to push this one forward and put the next row on. So I'm making sure my end is stuck in that glue. This one's been back stitched, but where the cut one is, we want to make sure that is stuck. But look how nice this doll hair is starting to look. Get all these pieces pulled to the front and just work in sections. So as you do each one, you push it, the loops forward, and you have some really cute primitive doll hair. Whoops, sorry, you're off camera. I have my thread stuck on my glue tool. So we're just going to fluff this up. Once that glue's set, then you can do what you want with it. See, I'm just messing with it. That's all I'm doing. Hi, Jody. Yes, it's just called hairpin lace loom. But I don't make lace, so God bless the women who do. So she needs a little bit of a haircut. Now the back, since we're all the way in the back, we could just take this and roll it and glue it in. So she's got a whole head full of hair. And now all we gotta do is just fluff it. So what do you think of that? So let's take the one we did with the muslin. We just did a little bit with the muslin. The only other doll I have sitting here is Frankie, so we're going to give him some hair. So let's finish cutting this. So this is quick and easy. You can sit down and make a whole bunch of this at one time and just throw it in a container, and as you need it, pull it out. Now this I will stain, or this one I probably will do black because it's Frankie, but maybe we'll just stitch this on his head and I can take it back off. We just need to get all these loops done. Thank you. So I've had so many questions since doll class about doll hair, and a couple of you say your doll hair don't turn out right. All you have to do, you know, seriously, is make pom-poms. But this is another way. So if you want, you know, a different way of doing your hair, here you go. So you can start in the back. Let's get this all fluffed. So really what you're making is a garland. And you can do this in a garland and add it to lights. So there's all kinds of things you can do with this. But you can start in the middle and then just twist it around. And see, then you have really fluffy hair. Like real rag hair. By doing it that way. Hi Brenda, thank you. So the tool again is called hairpin lace. Now those of you that hopped on late, we did 50%, let me get that out of the way, 50% Mod Podge, and I did not use water, I used coffee, so that it comes out a little grunged. This is just ripped muslin, and you wrap it around a straw. And because it has Mod Podge on it, you can also use glue and the coffee, or just water if you don't like the grunge look, and just wrap it around your straw. I got strings here that I didn't cut off. Wrap it around. And it'll stick. And set it aside. Now we did jute too. And what you get, let me get this out of the way. Let me move this back. Here are dried ones. So what you get are these twists. So these look, let me get Frankie back up here again. He's going to be our model. So you can fold these, cut them, and glue them. And you get a real raggy looking hair. That's what I use them for. But I use flat lace. This is a crocheted lace. This is a flat lace. Ribbon. Here's another ribbon. So, and I get just little pieces. I'll throw them in a shoebox, and then now these ones I showed earlier, I did these on a piece of PVC pipe and put a skewer on them, and I used them as picks in a tree and on wreaths. But these are like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, so they're flat. But yeah. Here's a piece of, you know, this string. And they stay that way. But they make really cute doll hair. Where's my scissors? So we're going to glue this on Frankie's head, but I'm taking it right back off just so you can get the idea. Because Frankie doesn't need this kind of hair. Just hold it for a second, let it dry. So I can heat this up with a heat tool and take it right back off. So we're just, so if you're doing, now you can, if you need black, just add black paint to your Mod Podge and water. But see, if they come off your straw and they're really tight like this, just pull them. Just untwist them. They go right back, but they're not as tight when you untwist them. So, crocheted lace. See, this one overlapped a little bit. So all I'm going to do is pull it off itself, but it stays twisted. But fold it in half. So this makes really primitive hair, especially if your laces are coffee stained. You do them different lengths. And you can do really long ones and do ponytails with these too. So that one's a little bit too long. See, they cut really easy. But this is the kind of hair you get. Hi, Deborah. We're making doll hair out of really unorthodox way. Oh, you're not. Hi, Mom. We're just doing doll hair. So, see, this one's really tight. Oh, you got blurry. Just untwist it. Now, this is a 1-inch lace. So this, I'm not going to use on that one because I'm using really thin. But just decide how long you want it. And they cut. See how easy that cuts? Even though it has the Mod Podge or glue, whichever one you use. And you can pull it so it's a little looser. And it holds its shape. So if you want, if you're making an African American doll, this is perfect hair. So we can add some in the front for bangs. So Sunday at 5 o'clock, my daughter and I are doing a project of hers. Oh, let me tell you what this nightmare turned into be. She gave me all the supplies we needed, so I went and bought 2. One for her, one for me, so we can make them together. Because I'm in an event, or we are in an event. So I went online. Michael's had everything. So they had it online. I ordered it. My Michael's didn't have everything I needed, but Michael's 15 minutes from me had everything I needed. So I thought, well, after work, I'll just go over there. That was 2 days ago. So I went to get it today. They didn't have my order. So I went to Fayetteville, Georgia. They didn't have my order. They didn't have any record of me ordering from them. Showed them the email. She was really apologetic. She looked, and she got somebody else. They looked, because you know when you order online and you pick up in store, it's all sitting on a rack right inside the door. Nope, not there. So I called my store. Was my email wrong? So I called my store. She came back laughing. She said, honey, your order didn't go to Georgia. It went to Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I'm like, what? I'm in Georgia. I'm in Fayetteville, Georgia. Went to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Yeah, so she canceled my order because I had a $30 voucher. And I was like, I don't want to lose my voucher. That's, $30. I don't want to lose that. So she hurried up and credited my account back with the voucher, and then I went to my store and got it anyway. I was like, oh my God, what a nightmare. How did they send it, that order, to Fayetteville, North Carolina? I have the worst luck trying to get stuff delivered to where it's supposed to go. I'm like, I lived in Fayetteville, North Carolina one time, but that was 43 years ago. So look how cute that's turning out to be. She's going to be a wild girl, but that's okay. Now this one, it has a blue lace on it that won't come off, so we're not using that one. But I was like, I want my voucher back. I work hard for those vouchers that they give me. So because when I originally ordered it, it was on sale. Well, today it wasn't on sale, so it still cost me some money, but I still got my voucher back, so it made me happy. Looks like my hair in the morning. But if you're making a really primitive doll, or like I said, an African American doll, this is the perfect hair. But you have to add black paint to your Mod Podge. So this is just an idea. Since I've been getting questions about hair, so if I was actually going to leave this on this doll's head, I would style it a little bit better. But you can just keep adding to. Of course, I don't need to make this into a Frankie. I can make this into anything. So here is another idea for your primitive dolls. Now see, this one's really tight. Just pull it, just untwist a little bit. So have I got you guys is thinking again? Like, oh my God, I can use this for this and I can use it for that and I can. This one? This is a crocheted lace, and this one is a flat lace. You can use anything. You can use jute. I don't have any jute ones in here. I thought I did. You can use ribbon, anything. You can use anything. This is ribbon. So you can use anything. Jute looks really nice. I thought I had jute in there, or I would have made some today so it would be dry. But jute looks really nice too. Especially on the primitive dolls or on the boy dolls. The jute looks really nice. But this is a crocheted lace. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Deborah. Yes, Brenda. See, she's just a little wild. She's been in a windstorm like her maker. Looks like she's been in a windstorm most of the time. So all I'm doing is just cutting pieces off. So like I said, when I make these, I make about 100 at a time because I have 100 straws. And I just leave them sit and dry. But they will dry a little over an hour. I glued that to myself. So if I have just little bits and pieces of lace, this is what I do with them. Because, you know, you need little pieces for like the bangs and to fill in and stuff. She needs a pink dress. She needs something right now. She's had the week I've had. So after you get this, you got it however much you want to put on here. You can dampen your hands and start squishing it. And that will tame some of this wild look down. Because it's just Mod Podge. So just by dampening your hands and going over it, you can form her hair. So see, some of these are darker than others. I just use them. Because if you look at your own hair, it's not one solid color. There are different colors in your hair. At least mine's that way. Mine right now is like 6 different colors, so. So we're just tucking the hair in wherever we see a spot. We don't want her to have bald spots. You like that wild look? Well, now you're looking at me every day. So see, this is just a crocheted lace. So if you have little bits and pieces of lace and ribbon and you don't know what to do with it, here's a way to get the way to use it. It's a little more time consuming, but I love the look. So it's just another idea instead of yarn. You can do this with yarn. Yarn looks really nice too. Only yarn, some colors will fade a little bit, but once it's dry, it's good. Oh, it helps if I have a glue stick. So we're not actually making a craft or sewing project tonight, but see, that one's a little longer. But once I get them all done, and I think she has enough, I just dampen my hands with water and just go over it. So I'm going to put some longer pieces here. Then we'll fill in with some little pieces, because when you cut it, you end up with little pieces. But you can, like I said, you can use these spirals for a ton of stuff. They look, I wish I would have brought a bow in. They look really nice sticking out of a bow. So see, I have different kinds. This is a flat lace, this is a crocheted lace, and I'm using them both together. So I'm just reaching in, and as long as it's not a ribbon, I'm using it. I came up with this idea. Now, they use these in little girls' hair bows. But I came up with this idea because I had an order for a doll, and the lady wanted wild hair. And I'm like, wild hair? How do I make wild hair? So, we have wild hair. And I've used this ever since because it makes nice primitive doll hair. Because I was sitting in my store doing the doll hair, and everyone that came in loved that look. And I thought, I hit on something here and didn't even know I was doing it. You would leave it wild? Well, once in a while they need tamed down a little bit. So that's the way to tame them. Just wetting your hand. Damp, not wet, damp. So you also could take like 3 or 4 of these at a time and glue them in one spot. I just do one at a time. But if you do 3 or 4 at a time, you get this like really wild look. Let's do several. So by taking, I got 3 strands here. And I'm going to stick all 3 in that glue that I just put there at one time. So that's a little bit faster way of filling in. She needs a little more, you know, a whole head, but look at that. Now if you do really long ones, like this, really long, you can put ponytails. I always just do short pieces all over. See, like that one needs clipped. So I hope I've given you another idea that you can do with your dolls. Thanks, Jody. So if you do this with raffia, it takes, for some reason, a little bit longer to dry than the lace. Maybe because the lace is porous, raffia is not. But so there you go. So there's that one. There's the hairpin lace. And see, now that this is really set up, I can be a little bit rougher and pulling all these fibers together. Yep, those ones aren't even cut. But see how that's filling in? And now you need to make one. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Jody. But see, just by rubbing your fingers over that jute, it'll start to fill in. But this isn't done, so. So there you go. 2 different ways of doing doll hair that's a little unconventional. And the name of the tool is a hairpin lace loom. Hi, Joanne. I didn't see you on here. So if you want to do that, this is what it looks like. Let me put the end back on it. So you can make long doll hair with this. You know, 4 inches long. So this is what it looks like. Now the other one I had, well, these are metal, but the other one I had, these were wood. These are plastic on this one. Oh, hi, Vicki. Oh, yes. This is like so simple to do. Both of these are so simple to do. One's a little more messy than the other, but so if you, it's 50% Mod Podge on the other one and 50% water or 50% white glue in that. But I don't use water. I use coffee just so I get that coffee color. And before this goes on the floor, yes, please watch the replay. But there you go. You have a wild look and you have a more of a little bit primitive look. But using the muslin is nice too. We don't have a third doll. Only thing I have sitting here is a ghost. But yeah, the muslin looks really nice too, but you do it the same way as we did the jute. Thank you, Vicki. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Brenda. Yeah, so the loom just does, you know, it just sews it all together. So if you don't have a machine, do it by hand because I showed that too. So I tried to cover everything, what everybody's saying. I don't have a machine. I showed you a way to make doll hair without a machine. This doesn't require a machine at all. It requires straws. So when your family gets a drink out, say, don't throw that straw away. I want it. Okay, everybody. God bless you. Whenever I get back to these two, I will post a picture. But I am going to dampen my hands and tone her hair down a little bit. It'll still be wild, but it won't be sticking up everywhere. God bless you. Oh, you are so welcome, Kathy. I'm glad I could help. So if you have any other questions. Hi, Debbie. You caught us right at the end. We made doll hair 2 unconventional ways. Thank you. You have a great weekend too, Kathy. God bless you.